As the world watches closely, the upcoming US elections loom large over the future of Israel's policies and the unfolding crisis in Gaza. To what extent will the aftermath of the election impact the future of Gaza? And what implications will the election outcome have on the region's stability and prospects for peace? All of this and more today on In Depth. Stay tuned.
We will build what I call an opportunity economy.
We will make America great.
We're ready to fight for it. As one people, we are moving forward.
We will make America safe again.
With the United States presidential election just 2 days away, wars raging in the Middle East could be either escalated or ended based on the stance of the next US president. According to the Washington Post, victims of war on Gaza are looking ahead to the US presidential election with wary resignation, unsure of how the vote on Tuesday might affect the region and their lives. The newspaper added that wars in the Middle East have hunted the campaign. In addition, people most affected by the ongoing war say that the lengthy US election season has delayed a possible ceasefire deal. As the presidential race heats up, many are speculating as to how Washington's choices could redefine Gaza's destiny.
As the US presidential election approaches, candidates Donald Trump and Kamala Harris have outlined distinct approaches to the ongoing conflict between Israel and Gaza, reflecting different priorities for US policy in the region. Donald Trump has reiterated strong support for Israel's security and right to self-defense, believing that US should back Israel in its defense against attacks. Trump also emphasizes the US policy should continue fostering peace through diplomatic agreements between Israel and Arab countries. His approach suggests securing Israel's position and encouraging regional partnerships remain vital to maintaining stability. Kamala Harris has highlighted the importance of addressing humanitarian concerns in Gaza, advocating for steps toward a ceasefire and access to humanitarian aid for civilians. Harris supports efforts to establish a balanced solution that recognizes Palestinian rights while ensuring Israel's security. Her approach includes the US actively promoting peaceful negotiations that consider both security and humanitarian needs in the region. Both candidates propose distinct but significant approaches to US-Israel relations, which could influence the broader Middle Eastern landscape. Regardless of the election outcome, the American role in supporting Israel's security and encouraging regional cooperation will continue to be central to its policy, as it seeks to achieve lasting peace and stability in the region.
As we reflect on the impact of the US elections on the future of Gaza, we're joined from California by Ashraf Singer, an American affairs expert, and from New York, Ahmed Maharem, a writer and political researcher. A very warm welcome to our guests, and we start off with Mr. Singer. A very good day, sir.
Good day, yeah.
Sir, the ongoing wars in the Middle East, especially in Gaza, could either be escalated or de-escalated, of course, based on the stance of the next US president. In your opinion, sir, will a change in leadership usher in a new era of diplomacy or worsen existing situations and tensions?
Of course, that Donald Trump wins the election, the situation will be different, in terms of the ongoing conflict between Palestinians and the Israelis, in terms of that degree, all the settlers in Israel, Netanyahu, will be so happy to see Trump, occupying, the White House. My fear that, Trump will control the American foreign policy, the degree of instability uh, will be very, very significant. First, Trump, see his approach, to the NATO, for example. All countries in Europe, they cannot really predict Trump stance or what is next, in terms of dealing with the, uh, the foreign policy, particularly the current war between Russia and Ukraine. Second, Middle East. So basically, Middle East is part of Europe interest, not only American interest. So basically, Europe is not really welcoming Trump, maybe very welcoming Harris. That can really increase that degree of stability and try to build the two-state solution or give that idea to be uh, a factual or we can see it on the ground. But in terms of Trump, certainly no. They're gonna to give Netanyahu all the power and potentially gonna to increase the conflict over territorial expansion, and this is what we can really see it clearly. The last point, actually, my my feeling if Trump or my that Trump could really hit the Iran facilities, nuclear facilities, and this will be like, oh wow, this will be big action, be disaster. So this is gonna to increase the conflict in the whole region of the Middle East, and this is the end. I hope that Trump, if he won the election, he can really be a peacemaker as he promised. All the
Okay,
Arab
I'll be back
Americans.
again, but I'll ask Mr. Muharram first. Sir, analysts say that the outcome of Tuesday's vote could have major implications for Israeli actions in Gaza. What changes in military strategy can be expected from Israel depending on the election outcome?
I think, regardless from the Benjamin point of view, he is keeping his capability of doing what he is doing in Gaza and Lebanon, waiting for the result of the election. I think it doesn't matter with him. His people in the United States are trying to achieve a lot of success, and they actually helping both, the Democrat and the Republican. If Kamala Harris will win, that will be fine. If Trump will be win, that will be much better for them. But in both cases, I think he is ready to stop the war, either in Gaza itself or both Gaza and Lebanon, in order to give a new platform as a gift to the new president.
Mr. Muharram, whether Kamala Harris wins or Donald Trump wins, do you think there's going to be any difference in the strategy of the United States towards the atrocities and genocides that are taking place in Gaza?
Nothing will happen immediately, but maybe in the near future something can be happen slowly, but surely something can be happen differently. We can
What do you think can happen, sir?
I think first of all, America doesn't want to lose the allies of more than 80 decades in the Middle East, especially the Gulf states and Egypt, Jordanian, Qatar. So they have to keep some kind of new thoughts that if the situation will be continue as giving Israel all these facilities, that will not be on the favorite of the America and the world. And on the other side, America has other intention to go to see what's in China, what's in Russia, and the new battle will be on the east. The Middle East never be that important to America as usual. If America will continue to do what it's doing with Israel, I think Russia and China will never leave the situation. They will be helping, Iran as much as they can. So something will happen with the new strategy either Kamala Harris or Trump will be in the White House.
It's soon, sir, and we're going to be witnessing very soon the policies of each administration or the new United States president. Mr. Singer, from your point of view, sir, how could the election results reshape U.S. foreign policy in the Middle East over the next 4 years?
Yeah, U.S. foreign policy for a long time ignored, what is going on in the Middle East. So after, October
Sir,
7th.
do you think the word is ignored, or do you think that, for example, if we are discussing the Biden administration, so the Biden administration has, of course, a double standard policy, which, of course, it's very obvious.
We cannot ignore, the role of the Israel lobby here in the U.S. And that huge impact on the U.S. foreign policy. But in terms of ignoring, the Middle East, was the grand policy of Biden administration, even before he came to the power. In other words, Middle East is very tiny region, or it's not really a region where can be threats, the U.S. The major threats actually coming from Asia now, from the China, the rise of China, or what is going on now in Europe, between Russia and Ukraine, and Europeans, they need to end that conflict. So Middle East wasn't really there in that strategy. But at that time, Netanyahu settlers, they were occupying, Palestine, or Palestinians, they were not living in a normal life, like a big jail in Gaza. So this is what happened after October 7th. So, and that attack on the Israeli civilians. Of course, Israelis, retaliation to Hamas, not only for not towards Hamas, but retaliation of the Israelis was so huge that really touched all the people in Palestine. And this is one of the major problems. But United States in that case was blind, behind Israel, gave Israel, all arms Israel needed, and ended with that number of deaths. More than 42,000 people got killed in both sides, from both sides, and invading Lebanon too. And so this situation, actually, Biden wasn't really acting. Biden administration was not really acting as the world really was expecting, that America had that power to stop this conflict, to stop
Okay,
Netanyahu.
sir, I'll go back to Mr. Maharim. Sir, do you think Palestinians are optimistic about the potential results of the upcoming elections at this point?
I don't think so. They are almost, they are not optimistic, but they are sad, because the main question is not to stop the war. If the war will stop immediately, even tomorrow, the main concern and the more important question is what is happening the next day of if the ceasefire take place and the war will stop. Is it going to be Gaza come back again? What will happen to those 2 million are living on the desert and in tents? What will happen to the 500,000 of Palestinian students if there is no schools for the second year? What will happen for the demolish of 80%?
There's a lot, sir. That's what's going to happen. But now what I want to point out too is that Donald Trump has reiterated strong support for Israeli security and right to self-defense, believing that the United States should back Israel in its defense against attacks. And on the other hand, Kamala Harris has highlighted the importance of addressing humanitarian concerns in Gaza, advocating for steps towards a ceasefire and access to humanitarian aid for civilians. Your take, sir, on this?
I think it's all big hopes, nice, promising during the election time. But on the ground, Benjamin Netanyahu, for more than a year, He never allowed for humanitarian assistance to be on the ground. He is always killing the people who are doing humanitarian assistance. He's killing the journalists. So I am hoping that after the election, it doesn't matter who will be in the White House, something different can restore the dignity and the democracy of America around the world.
Okay, sir. So you don't see that whether Kamala Harris is the next president of the United States or Donald Trump is the next president of the United States, you don't see any change?
Absolutely, yes.
Okay, sir. Mr. Singer, back to you again. How might the views of the American public, especially the Arab American Muslim communities, influence the new administration's policies towards the Middle East, which I don't understand actually what's going on with the Arab Muslims, Americans in the United States at this point, and their voting.
The Arab American, they were not strong enough to intervene the U.S. foreign policy if they have some candidates or they were really supporting, Democratic Party or Republican Party. They are
At the
pretty
beginning,
divided.
sir, they were not, but I think some change happened.
Some change happened only in one state, which is Michigan. That is back to
And
the last.
Michigan is a swing state. It's a battleground state, sir.
It's a battleground state and very crucial. And if it's Kamala Harris win the election and he lost, and she lost Michigan, she gonna to give a new plan to the Middle East to that point in terms of she gonna to remove Netanyahu and help the Israelis to change Netanyahu from the power in next election in Israel. So this is because Kamala Harris will not really accept that kind of escalating of conflict in Lebanon and Palestine, and because that reflecting actually the voting behavior in Michigan. What I can see now, the Arab American pretty divided to choose Donald Trump or Kamala Harris. Like some imams, or the leader of Islamic community in Michigan, they were really supporting, Trump and asking, the followers, to please support Trump because Trump can really we can see Trump as a peacemaker soon after Trump, win the election. But in terms of the reality on the ground, the community pretty divided. They don't have one voice either towards, Harris or.
In general, sir, there is a
to
division in the United States at this point as we talk, and we're going to be witnessing on Tuesday what's going to be happening. Mr. Maharim, according to the Washington Post, analysts say there is not going to be any progress on the talks until Netanyahu sees who is going to be in the White House. In your opinion, what are the prospects for a ceasefire in Gaza and Lebanon in the immediate aftermath of the election?
Well, there is a big hope that something can happen, any kind of a change. It doesn't matter who will be in the
Sir,
White
I
House.
see your narrative very optimistic.
Sometimes we have to be, but we have to be some kind of dealing with the truth, accepting the facts, and we still have some hope that Arab American and Muslim in the region, this time actually that election, they have a good thumb and they show to the American people that they can have an influence. 4 years ago, they were the reason of the success of the president, Biden. But what's happening during this regime, every Arab American and Muslim, they are not happy with what the administration of Biden have done. That's why some of them, not because they like Trump, but they have to move to the other side. Actually, some of them, they said we have a bad president and we have the other one is too bad.
Sir, do you read that if Kamala Harris wins this election, maybe the Biden administration and what took place the past 4 years, she will change the policies?
It could be a much better position if Trump will be the one, because Trump from now he's giving Israel all what to need theoretically before being a president. But Kamala Harris, being 4 years with the cabinet, I think she knows exactly what are the mistakes their department and their president and she himself have done. It could be a chance for her to do some kind of a change in order to make America looks different to the world and to the region.
Which means you think Harris can change?
Hopefully, yes, because it's not her own decision. She has a cabinet and she has institutions, those institutions that the cabinet can give her advice where America has to put their leg on the next few months and few weeks.
She's going to have her own policies, sir. We go back to Mr. Singer. Sir, Harris has previously told the Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu that she would not be silent about suffering in Gaza. At the same time, she has said that Israel has a right to defend itself and how it does so matters. Do you think Harris will adopt the same double standard policy towards Israel as the Biden administration currently does?
This is a good point because, Kamala Harris, was and is the only voice, heard more concerned, about issues in Gaza. And she was working hard to for ceasefire between Palestinians and Israelis. Of course, defending Israel is also part of her agenda to create that balance between Israelis and Palestinians in the Middle East. Of course, this policy never ever worked well for Palestinians, just worked well for Israel. And this is what the people really in here in the United States, the new generation, because Kamala Harris is reflecting that voice now for all young Americans. They were are advocating the case of Gaza, Lebanon, and conflict. They were supporting Palestinians and Lebanese, of course. So Kamala Harris, I'm sure, she's gonna to give a new path or a new track for Israelis and Palestinians. I think from the first day in her presidency, I will I will see Kamala Harris, working hard with her team in the White House to stop, that conflict
So,
and
sir, you're with
calling for,
Kamala Harris and the Democrats at this point. You
yeah,
see you see that they are better for the Middle East and the crises that are taking place in the Middle East.
sure, yes,
Okay,
because go ahead.
we move on to Mr. Maharem. During a meeting with Benjamin Netanyahu in July, Trump said that killings in Gaza had to stop, but that Netanyahu knows what he's doing. How do you assess Trump's relationship with Netanyahu at this point? And if he becomes the president of the United States?
Well, it's again kind of double standing, but the difference between Trump and Kamala Harris, Trump is too sharp, and he's not a political, he's a businessman, so he's giving it hard time, and he doesn't care exactly about what he's saying from his mouth. Does it harm the other side or not? Maybe Kamala Harris is more political, saying that you can consider there is a kind of feel that she has to consider that to respect the people in the region. While the other side, I mean, Trump doesn't care much, but hope in both cases, scenarios, that something can happen to change the mentality of the American leader, how they can deal with the matter, because the world is watching, and in that conflict, America really has to change. Otherwise, this is not the good picture of America around the world.
Okay, sir, before we wrap up this episode, I want an answer from Mr. Ashraf. And from you, sir, who do you think is going to be the next United States president?
Very crucial, very critical answer. I'm seeing, that change in Iowa as a conservative community, conservative states, red state, Republican. The last, survey there will showing that Kamala Harris is leading in that state not Donald Trump. This is really a maze, and it's a really big shock
Sir,
for
who do you
me.
think is going to be the next United States president?
Uh, I think Kamala Harris
Okay, Mr.
gonna
Maharim,
gonna
quickly, please.
I hope not Trump, but it seems like he's going to be the one.
Okay, God bless, and let's see. It's so soon, and we are going to be watching and witnessing as the entire world is witnessing, as of course the sprint to the finish line has already started. That was from California, Ashraf Singer, an American affairs expert, and from New York, Ahmed Maharim, a writer and political researcher. Thank you very much for your insights. That brings us to the end of today's episode of In Depth. Don't forget to follow Qnews on YouTube, Facebook, X, Instagram, and TikTok at QNewsEG to stay informed. For real-time updates, connect with us on the UMS digital platform and watch it. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more coming up here on Qnews.